Welcome back to the second part of data visualization tutorial. We will be covering other functions available in ggplot and some other advanced function as well. Let's continue with faceting. Remember that we have created the scatter plot with different types of aesthetic attributes such as colors, size, alpha, and shapes, but in the end of the day, we still found that color it's kind of more suitable aesthetic attribution here as compared to others because we have a total of 11 genres. Alright? Director team actually find this insight to be very intriguing, but as the overall dataset seems to be a bit saturated, he would like to facet the data into each genre independently to have a better view. Let's do a general faceting, alright? Still remember how to plot a basic scatter plot? So we start with ggplot. Remember to tell R that which data you want to put in IMDb file, and then I do the aesthetic mapping, and then X equals to scoring, to score, Y equals to awards, and then we put, because we want scatter plot, so we put geom point, and yep, we are done. Alright, this is our scatter plot. So now to do faceting, we want to facet according to genre, right? So we use this facet wrap function. So facet wrap, and then telling R that I want to facet genre. Okay, so let's run this. And then you would see the facet wrap for every levels of genre here. If you would like to change the view, you would want to adjust the number of column according to your preference. You can do so actually. So after genre here, you just need to add the n column function equals to how many columns you would want to prefer. So for example, 2. So you just press 2 and run. And then you would see this. So next, in order to adjust the number of row, so you just need to change it to n row, and then from here you also change to n row instead of column, and then just press run, and the whole thing will look like this. So that's all about faceting. Alright, let's proceed with some geometric objects. So after looking at the graph, director team was interested in what is the relationship between IMDb score and awards received actually, because we have been looking at the scatter plot for quite a bit, but we are not sure how does the relationship goes between these two variables. So let's start with plotting a smooth curve using the geom smooth function. Alright, so we use the same command. So just remove the facet wrap function. So we start with geom point. So from ggplot until geom point, we just add another layer telling R that I want to create a line. So we add geom smooth, and then press this, and then press run. You will actually see a very smooth curve, a smooth line according to the scatter plot we have. So now try to use this to include the methods equals to lowest, and then see what's the difference between both. Alright, so geom smooth, and then method equals to lowest, LOESS, and then press run. You will actually see the exact same thing with the graph earlier, as this is the default of geom smooth. So with or without this function, it will actually create a smooth line for your graph. Alright? Now you might be thinking, how about a straight line? I don't want to see a smooth line, but I want to see a linear model instead. So to create a straight line, a linear model of the graph, it's pretty simple. Just change the method from lowest into LM, which indicates linear model. Alright, so geom smooth method equals to LM. Alright, so just press run, and then you would see this. Alright, a straight line have occurred. Now you have done everything, and you would see this gray color shadow behind. It's actually a standard error bar you have seen. Alright, so this is just for your information. So after that, you feel like adding, removing, or even changing some elements in the graph. So to change the color of line, as usual, we just need to add the color function in the command itself. But in this case, we don't actually put it in here. We don't put it as static mapping because we wouldn't want to change the color of scatter plot, but we want to change the color of line. So let's put under geom smooth. So color equals to, let's put a purple color, and then press run. You will actually see a purple color here. Alright? Okay, so let's edit for a bit. So color equals to purple. Alright? So how about just now when you are looking at the graph, you see there is a shadow, you want to remove the shadow, you want to remove the standard error bar, right? So it's pretty simple. You just need to use the SE equals to false function by doing this. Alright, so everything same, just copy and paste, but after here you just include SE equals to false. Alright, so telling R that I don't want the default function, but help me remove the standard error. And then you would see a clean line without any shadow here. Since we have already plotted so many graphs, and it might be a bit confusing when it comes to looking at different graph, different images, and how to do so to differentiate the graph, you might actually miss out mix together which certain graph together and got confused. So sometimes to make it easier to differentiate, we use the labs function here to indicate label. You may include something like title, subtitle, changing of X and Y axis name based on your preference itself. So at this point, don't feel intimidated with like there is so many layers of graph you have plotted, but everything just remain the same. It's just adding another layer itself. Alright, so using the same one, we have the geom smooth methods equals to LM to have the straight line. Now we just include another layer telling that I want to create a label. Okay, labs, and then I want to have the title. So title equals to score by awards, and then continue by subtitle. I want a subtitle saying that this is a relationship between score and awards. Then I want to change my x-axis into more detail. Instead of score, I want to name it as IMDb score. Alright, and then y just remain as awards, just to make sure the open and close inverted commas, and then press run, and then you are done. Alright, so we can see there is title, subtitle, and then IMDb score have already, the name have changes, and then it depends on what you actually want. You don't need to include everything. If you don't want a subtitle, you can just remove this chunk, and then you are done. Alright? Other than scatter plot, you would like to check on other variables of data using different geometric objects. R can actually allow you to visualize data using different diagrams or even charts. If you would like to count the frequency of categorical data such as frequency of genre, we can actually use geom bar for bar chart. So for example, we use ggplot data equals to IMDb, aesthetic S equals to genre, and then remember what plot we want. This time is not the geom point, but we want a geom bar instead. Alright, so we put geom bar and then press run. Then you would see the frequency of how many movies we have according to different type of genres. Alright, so next, if you would like to know the frequency of continuous variables such as IMDb score, you may go with geom history function for histogram. So as usual, similar with bar chart, so ggplot data equals to IMDb, mapping equals to aesthetic, x equals to score, and then also instead of geom bar, we change to geom histogram. Alright, so press run, and then you would see this. Okay, it's a very skewed distribution here. It's a bit skewed, but if you would like to edit the bin width itself, you can just copy and paste this and then edit the bin width and then put equals to 1, and then let's see how it goes. Okay, so let's put equals to 1, and then you would see something like this. Alright, so histogram and bar chart is actually pretty similar. It can only go with either x or y variable, which is only one variable can be used because it's a frequency count. But if you would like to look into continuous variable according to each category such as genre, I would suggest using box plot instead, using geom box plot function, so that you can see the distribution according to different variable, different type of levels instead. So for example, we want to look into the IMDb score on the type of genre. We want to compare the difference. So we just use ggplot data IMDb score, data equals to IMDb, aesthetic function x equals to genre, y equals to score, and then we do a geom box plot this time. Alright, so press run. Oops, so there is some typo here, and run again, and then you would see this. So you can see the general distribution between each genre and how the score distributed, and there is some outliers here which indicates by the dots. So if you are wondering, what if you have both continuous variable, what do you do? So we actually have been running this all the time. So if you have two continuous variable, you can actually run the scatter plot that we ran since the beginning using the geom point function. Alright? Okay,